When I was a young boy, I was raised Catholic, and I used to have a very special relationship with the Virgin Mary. I would pray to her every night and ask that she help me prove that she was real by creating coincidences in my life. And this was a little ritual that I had created for myself. I had printed out a calendar, and every day that there would be a coincidence, I would put a little green dot on the day. And by the end of the month, I would come and look at the calendar and I would see green dots everywhere. And it was solid proof to me that the divine was out there listening to me and taking care of me. I don't know when that dropped off or when I stopped doing it. I can't actually remember. But I look back on that ritual and that relationship with a lot of love. That was young Mao trying to experience the world and experience his relationship with the divine in his own unique way. My guest today, Gillian, brings us a question exactly about this, the kinds of relationships that we craft with the mysterious, with the divine, with our faith. I'm really excited to have this conversation. I'm Mauricio Bruce, and this is The Real Question. Hi, Gillian. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
I'm very excited to have you here. If you've been listening to the show in the last couple of months, you know that I start with a question. I've been asking, what is something that you would like to share with us, if you could share anything?
Well, I am going to divinity school in the fall, so I'm going to be a chaplain as well, and going to be probably a Buddhist chaplain, but it's still under construction, my identity, so.
That's very exciting. I'm a little biased, but I think divinity school is a very fun experience, a thinking experiment. I think you're going to have a grand time.
I think so too. It's what I always really wanted to do, but I thought I'll do it later in life. And it turns out this is later in life, so.
It's later than when you first thought it.
A little bit later.
Okay. Gillian, I'm excited to have you on the show today. You have brought us a question, and I'm curious to hear what that question is. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, I have been keeping kosher style for the past about a decade. I started because I thought I was going to be a rabbi, and then I decided to do other things with my life. I worked in foster care, and then I worked at a hostel, and now I'm going to divinity school, and I won't be pursuing specifically Jewish chaplaincy. And I'm starting to wonder why I still do this kosher style thing. I didn't grow up keeping kosher. No one else in my family keeps kosher. I have a bunch of arbitrary rules of when I don't actually have to, like when I go into a dim sum restaurant, or if it's going to be rude, if someone's giving me food and it's about to be rude. But I still can't stop myself from every time someone asks if I have a dietary restriction to tell them oh, I don't eat pork or shellfish. And I just don't know why I'm still keeping kosher style. I'm not even fully kosher. I don't buy kosher meat. I mix milk and meat. It's really just the pork, shellfish, unkosher meats and fishes thing.
Okay. I'm just wondering, what does being kosher style give to you? What does it make you feel? What does it make you think? Why did you decide to be kosherish to begin with? And what do you think you received from it?
So I decided I wanted to be a rabbi back in high school, and I kind of planned my life around I would be a rabbi. And in college, the rabbi at my college was very supportive until she asked if I kept kosher. And when I said, "Oh, I don't think that's an important part of my faith. I wasn't raised kosher, and, I don't think that you need to stop eating pork to be a good rabbi," she sort of took back her encouragement and she was like, "Then I don't understand why you want to be a rabbi." So what I ended up doing was, as a way of kind of, I hate to say sticking it to her, but I was like, okay, if I need to stop eating pork to be a good rabbi, then fine. No more pork. I'm happy to do this. And I have been. Like, I pretty rarely consume it. It's just like the few things that I mentioned. And again, if I go to dim sum, the roast pork buns, God did not make them that good for us to not eat them. That said, it just kind of started and never really stopped.
But so what I'm hearing, Gillian, and I just want to clarify, this started as a way to prove that you could be a good rabbi. Is that right?
Yeah, and like that I could be a good Jew. And like, I rationally know that you do not need to keep kosher to be a good Jew. You don't even have to believe in God to be a good Jew. But I was like, well, I don't want anyone asking any questions about like how dedicated I am to my faith and everything. Now look at me.
So it started as a way to say, hey, listen, I can be a good rabbi. I can be a good Jew. Here's my way of proving it. And now it's sort of turned into just a routine, a custom.
A habit.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, I've been toying with, maybe not keeping kosher anymore for a while now. And when I was in Italy with a friend last year, we went to this sandwich shop and the sandwiches looked so good. And my friend was like, "This is incredible." And they were eating like a pork sandwich. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it out. I'm going to be a little naughty. I'm going to get a pork sandwich. And I got one and I ate it and I felt so guilty. I couldn't even enjoy it. I was like, man, this wasn't even worth it. Again, I don't actually think that you need to keep kosher to be a good Jew. And I don't even know how much I care about being a good Jew at this point. But I couldn't even enjoy the delicious pork sandwich.
And so something comes up for me there because it's showing me that it's not just a habit. If it were just a habit, I just got into the habit of not eating pork because at one point I wanted to prove that I could be a good rabbi. There wouldn't be any guilt. So it makes me think that there's something behind that. When you went and ate that pork, that we haven't named yet came up and said, "Oh, you're being bad right now." And you felt that guilt, right?
Yeah, I did.
Do you have any idea? I felt guilty because.
I mean, my instinct is the thousands of years of Jewish guilt just kind of bubbling up into that moment. But I don't feel guilty when I eat dim sum. Maybe it's like it's the rule breaking part. Like, I made this rule for myself.
Yes, that sounds like we're getting closer because you've made these rules where you say dim sum is okay, right? Within my personal ritual, there's personal kosher style that you've created for yourself. It's a lifestyle that you created and curated in order to explore the possibility of being a rabbi.
I like that you used the word ritual. I hadn't really thought of ritual for it, but when I say like, oh, I don't eat pork or shellfish, I do kind of think of it as like, it does come out as a proclamation of faith, right?
And so I'm curious, can you identify what the guilt is? I feel guilty because.
I feel guilty because I made this promise to myself that I wouldn't eat pork, and now I'm just eating a mortadella sandwich like it doesn't even matter that I like made this promise to myself.
So I like this idea very much. I made a promise to myself. I made a pact with myself that this was the way I was going to live in order to explore this part of me. And so now I'm just going to put that here for a second. And I want to explore, if you'll tell me, what happened that you decided not to pursue being a rabbi.
So a lot happened. After college, I was still planning to be a rabbi, but I wanted to see a little bit more of the world first. So I worked in foster care and I gained a lot of perspective in my time in foster care. I saw a lot of really hard things and I experienced a lot of hard things like with the children, with the parents, with the foster families. And I just knew that the petty squabbles that often come up when you're leading a synagogue and leading a congregation, for as much like really meaningful work as you get to do, a lot of the time, because the temple synagogue is a CEO of a congregation, you're dealing with a lot of very petty things. And I just felt like I would break and yell at like my congregants at some point when they're arguing about the caterer. And I'm thinking back on kids being thrown out by their grandparents and all their stuff in trash bags and stuff. And I ended up continuing in foster care for a long time. And I actually really loved the work. And then eventually wanted to do something different. And I didn't even really consider rabbinical school at this point. I knew I'd rather go to divinity school and become a chaplain because that was a lot more aligned with what I felt I wanted to do.
And I want to keep exploring. Thank you for all of that. You said you want to go to divinity school to be a Buddhist chaplain. So not even a Jewish chaplain. And I'm wondering where that jump came from.
So the Buddhism started in college. I took a Buddhism class my fall term freshman year and I just loved it. It ended up being my like study focus in college. And I went to a Buddhist monastery and I developed a meditation practice and I just love like reading Buddhist books. I was just at a Buddhist center in the UK last week. Like my identity was both Buddhist and Jewish at this point.
Is like, are you more Jewish? Are you more Buddhist? I'm just curious how you see yourself.
Theologically, I think that I am more Jewish. While I think I want to use the word ethically, although I'm not sure that's the right word, but that's the word I'm going to use for right now. Ethically, I feel more Buddhist. And academically, I also feel more Buddhist.
Okay. So this sets some things into perspective for me. And I'm going to ask, in this Gillian that is sharing all these pieces, that is multifaceted, and it's sort of like the question that you've brought to us and the scenario, where does being kosher fit? This ritual that you created for yourself 10 years ago, does it still fit into your theologically Jewish self? Or has it become a habit, like you said, and you just sort of carry it? This is what being Gillian is like. I guess where this question is going, just to sort of help you answer it, why did you bring the doubt to us today? Why are you considering leaving kosher-like behind?
I think I've been in like a season of changes. I am about to turn 30. I'm going to divinity school, so I'm having a career change. I'm moving because I live in New York and I'm moving to Atlanta for school. And I've been thinking about like what to hold on to and what to foster and what's serving me and what's not. And I've been thinking, what am I getting from being kosher style? And I don't have an answer besides that, well, if I eat the pork sandwich, then I feel guilty. And I don't like feeling guilty. It's not a fun feeling.
right? But if we understand that you feel guilty because you're breaking your own rules, because you're breaking your own ritual, then we can also understand that by letting go of the ritual, right, in your season of changes, you just said, I'm in a season of changes and I'm wondering through all these thresholds, the threshold of age, the threshold of career change, threshold of moving to a different city, what do I bring with me? What do I want to bring with me to this new place? If we understand that the ritual of kosher like is done, I'm not saying it is, but if we decide that it is, then laying that to rest could help you move into that next place and not feel guilty when you eat pork. That was 20 to 29 Gillian. And now 30 to 39 Gillian is exploring different rituals and different ways of engaging with her identity. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So, if the kosher style ritual appeared to help you navigate your life toward being a good rabbi, it seems like it doesn't have a purpose or a meaning right now, unless you want to re-signify it into part of what you're becoming. But because it was created for a part of your identity that you have very comfortably laid to rest, then it seems like it's just you're sort of holding on to this part of yourself that doesn't have either ritual or literal meaning to you. It's just a rule that you set back in your past and you continue to follow. So I want to know, what do you want to do with that ritual? Do you want to re-signify it? Do you want to lay it down? Do you want to undo it? What are you feeling in your bones and in your heart right now?
I suppose it didn't really occur to me that I could just not eat pork and shellfish for another reason. But that feels disingenuous to me. If I were to say, oh no, it's just a preference, like when people ask.
So not eating pork and shellfish, the only real reason for that is because I keep kosher?
I suppose I just don't really like shellfish and I don't actually like pork that much. So it is kind of a convenient excuse.
So, okay. Do you have any restrictions, food restrictions? Yeah, I don't like pork. I don't like shellfish either. It loses a little bit of the ritual, but it's if that's what you want to do, you can still hold on to that.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, because what I'm sensing is, this has bigger meaning to you than just, I don't eat those foods. Because, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's a little bit of grief as we talk about letting go of this ritual.
There is. Well, at my college, I was a religion major, shocking. And our other name was the meaning making department. I love meaning making. I just love to find a reason for why I am doing something.
But let me use that. You come from the Department of Meaning Making. So what's the meaning, Gillian? What's the meaning behind keeping kosher or being kosher-like for you?
I guess it really does come back to it ends up being this proclamation of faith, for as dramatic as that sounds. I mean, it's just there aren't really many clear, obvious signs of being Jewish for me. My name is pretty goyish. I guess it's just a nice way to make myself known. It just feels like a quantifiable way to have my identity.
It's a ritual that you came up with and that you followed for 10 years to honor and connect to your identity and to your faith. It brings me to the question, if being kosher is a proclamation of faith, is this the way that it still feels right to be Jewish in the world for you? Or is there something else that's coming up for you?
I think that when I decided not to be a rabbi, there was some grief in that decision as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I still didn't want to like give up on Judaism entirely. And I think that continuing with not eating pork and not eating shellfish was kind of a way to say I've not given up on you yet.
Mm-hmm.
Still hear God, still telling you look away every time I walk into the dim sum restaurant. Still showing that like I still want to be part of the community somehow. And I don't need it to be part of the community, but I guess I like that it makes me feel more like a part of the community.
That's beautiful. It's not needed. You just said it. I don't need it to be a part of the community, but this is my ritual that brings me and connects me to this part of myself and to this community. And so I'm going to bring us back to the beginning. The question that you brought, should I continue to be kosher style?
My gut is that I do want to continue. I think I have a better sense of why I'm doing it after this conversation. It's funny. I thought I was going to come in and then by the end be like, you guys are right. Why am I doing this? This is stupid. Come on. Ta-ta. But I don't feel that way at all. I feel like it may be, a small thing in a small way to like assert my faith, but it does matter to me. And I think that the meaning that I've put onto it of like, this is how I will proclaim my faith. And even if it's as small as not eating shrimp, which by the way, I never ate before I went kosher either. Like it still gives meaning to that. And I guess I'm glad that I did that. And I'm glad that I'm going to continue to do that. You know what? My parents are going to be really disappointed because they were kind of hoping you guys would talk me out of it. Sorry.
Thank you, Gillian. And I look forward to hearing how it is to re-engage with kosher style from a place of knowing and from a place of meaning rather than just automatically.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. And I'm looking forward to seeing what it feels like once I'm in divinity school and still doing that and also exploring spirituality in other directions as well.
All right. Well, enjoy divinity school. Have the most fun. And maybe we can talk in a month or two and just see how being kosher style and continuing to be kosher style has felt for you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Before we finish today and do credits, I want to remind you that registration is open for What Matters. If you like these kinds of conversations, if you like the explorations that I do here on The Real Question, What Matters might be the program for you. It's starting soon. We have limited spots, and I encourage you to come to the website and check it out. This has been The Real Question. Our show is funded through our Patreon at patreon.com/realquestionpod. If you're a regular listener, we would love your support. Come check out all the perks that we have at Patreon. Another way you can support this show is by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. Reviews are so important to get the show to other listeners and to other people. So come on, stop by and leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Real Question Pod. We are always looking for more guests. So if you have a question, go to our website, realquestionpod.com, and submit it. I would love to talk to you on the show. We love to shout out our BFF tier patrons, Renee Underhill and Amanda Schramm. Thank you. We are Not Sorry Production. Our executive producer is Vanessa Zoltan. We are edited and produced by Ariana Nettleman. Music is by Nick Bowl. And we're distributed by Acast. Support for this show comes from the Fetzer Institute. Thank you, Gillian, for joining us today. Thank you for bringing this question, for introducing us to kosher style, and for sharing your love of dim sum with the world. And thanks as always to our wonderful team, Julia Argy, Nikki Zoltan, AJ Yaramas, Anissa Ahmed, Danny Langley, Courtney Brown, Casper Turkile, and Stephanie Paulsell. This has been one more episode of The Real Question. Join us next week for a new question, a new guest, and a new conversation. See you then.